Hi students. We took our writing lesson, and as usual we took the basic idea, and we're going to go back and just discuss what are the basic things that we have to do in our composition. Now I'm with you in something that writing in general, it's not something that you can do in 5 minutes. You have to concentrate, you have to focus on what are the ideas, so at the end you can have the exact way that we are supposed to have our essay written. Now we're going to go back here to the writing that we took in the last lesson. Now, first of all, we talked about communication in general, and from communication here, there are many forms as we learned, and in our writing lesson, we concentrated on 2 types, which is the non-verbal and verbal type of communication. After that, we had our assignment. Now the assignment in general was to think of an Arab man or woman and a non-Arab man or woman you know personally or from TV. So you are free to choose whoever you want, but you have to be very careful who to choose, and you have to know clearly what is the culture of this person. So we're going to see here. In the book, they gave us an example, a friend from Sweden and a friend from Poland. So you can choose 2 non-Arabs or 2 Arabs, it's up to you. After that, we have here, have you ever heard about a student exchange programs or programs that team up schools from different countries? This isn't actually questions that were mentioned in the book, just to give you some guidelines on how to choose. And just to make you aware that yes, there are students that come from different cultures and they share some type of communication, even though they do not understand everything. Okay, now here are my 2 figures that I chose. Now I chose both of them are non-Arab. We have first of all Noor, she is a non-Arab, she is from Europe. And we have also Sarah, who is also non-Arab, but she is from Asia. Now here I chose Noor and Sarah because they are from different cultures, and it will be easy to see what are the differences in culture. Now in our essay there was something that we had to choose. In the book you have this table, and in the red part, the red you can see, do you think they communicate in the way that is typical of their culture? So if Noor, she is used to some kind of things in her culture, do you think that she will treat Sarah the same way as she is used to in her culture? Or does she have to put in mind what is the culture of Sarah? Now here you can see the names. Now of course we have here, I chose Noor and I chose Sarah. Now the things that I have to put in mind first of all is the culture specific communication features, which is the features that are connected or concerning the culture. Where is Noor or where is Sarah from? And the other type, which is communication features that are not culture specific, which means they can say that we have some personal gestures and facial expressions. They can be personal things that are connected to Noor and Sarah, like the example that you have in your book. Moving on. In the book, they asked you to write an essay about the communication approaches used by each person, give examples to support your ideas, and of course, because we have here 2 types or 2 people, we have a comparative essay. Now, before we took the expository essay, we took in Unit 5 the persuasive essay, and now we are going to take another type, which is going to be the comparative essay, which depends on how to explain how 2 subjects are either similar or different. So they can be similar in ways and different in other ways. So this is going to be our composition for the day. We are going to concentrate on it. So the first lesson, we discussed it. We discussed in general, and we took the nonverbal part. And now we are going to just go and outline what are the ideas that we chose. So I chose Noura and Sarah. Maybe you chose someone else. After that, we have of course, the tips in the writing corner that the book gave you, which is consider the different sides of the issue, develop a list of similarities and differences, and of course we have here, we are going to put in mind their different cultures, And also, we are going to put in mind the personal and social position of both girls. So these are my choices. You're going to see yours. Okay, after that, of course, we have here to establish your basis on comparison. Create a thesis for their relative importance. For example, similarities outweigh differences. This is going to be the topic sentence or the topic statement that you have. So I chose my statement, which is going to be between Noor and Sarah here. They get along very well. So we are going to start, or I am going to start, that although Noor and Sarah come from different cultures, they do get along very well. Now, like the writing that I did in Unit 5, we're going to start also with Unit 6, and I'm going to give you the same idea or the same thing about outlining or how to put your notes first before you start with your writing. Now, we started step by step. We started in Unit, or in the last lesson, actually, to just give you the basic idea. Now I have my points. Of course, we have simple sketches for Noor and Sarah. And if you can see that I have these stickers, I deferred just to organize my thoughts. Now the one with the heart is going to be the personal part, which is the non-cultural feature. And we have here the other one with the flower is going to be the cultural feature. So we have here something personal and something which is concerning the culture. Now we have here, let's start with Noor. Noor, we can say about her personality, of course, we are dealing with communication. Because it is communication, I'm going to say that Noor is outgoing. She is talkative, which makes her easy to talk to. And of course, from these two, we know that she is social. And also, we know that she is concerned, or she contributes in humane societies because she is interested in this part. On the other hand, we have here Sarah. Sarah is unlike Noor. She is shy. She is silent, but she is very comfortable to talk to. And yes, she is a little bit cautious. She doesn't talk to anyone. So these are her characteristics concerning communication or communicating with other people. And because she is a silent person, she does like, or she is a member of many book clubs. Now these are the uncultural or non-cultural features. If we go to the other part, which is the cultural feature, she is outgoing and talkative, but at the same time, we can say that Noor, she is conservative. There is something in her culture concerning eye contact. And also, shaking heads in her culture has a different meaning, as well as crossing legs. So this is something that may now attract you. What are the things that are different and that concern culture about these points? Also, we have here on the other hand, Sarah. Sarah, eye contact means respect. So since I have this point, means that there is difference. We said that there has to be similarities and differences. So we have here, there is a difference here. We can say that we have here shaking head. Now, if you can see the note that we have here, a thumbs down. Unlike we have here Noor, the thumb was up. And also we have here intimacy is acceptable, which means that we have here, for example, like shaking hands, hugs, which means that we have here human contact in general. It is different from the culture that we have here. Now we are talking about a main culture, and these are the differences that I will write or I will put in my writing. Note that I don't have to use everything, but I have my points all written in front of me. So these are going to be the parts that we have in the writing. Next time, inshallah, I'll have my writing. It is ready. I have my points. They are in front of me. And we have here, they are organized. I have something for Noor and I have something for Sarah, which are very different from each other. And they will help me to organize my writing more. Now, there is something about the organization. We have here the structure, your essay, using an alternating or a block structure. Now here, what I read in the last lesson means that although, or we can, let's just make it more clear and clarify it for you. The alternative structure requires focus on a feature. For example, greetings between men in the different cultures, followed by a focus on another feature such as gestures of approval and comparison, contrast in different cultures. So let me give you an example. Alternative means that I have many points. I will discuss one point and then show, I'll just comment on it. Then I'll move to the other point and comment. If I'm going to show the comparisons, or I'll give my point of view. But the other one, which is the block method, would call for a discussion of all relevant features in one culture, followed by a subsequent discussion of the same features in the other culture. The final part would require students to compare, contrast, and conclude. So here, what is the difference? This one takes it one by one, and then we talk about one feature. So let's say, for example, Arabs or us. We can say that we have a part of our culture that, let's say that men, they have to, still, of course, our culture is different now, or things are changing, but still, a lot of houses, when men enter the house, they have to take their shoes off, like in Japan. Now, this is something that we have in our culture. Another thing about our culture, that a lot of people, they like to leave their doors open. So if I'm going to have these two, the first one says, okay, I'm going to talk first of all about the taking shoes off and then commenting, and then I'll go to the other one, which is leaving the door open. But the block method, I'm talking about the whole culture in general, and then I'll talk about the similarities and differences. So there is a difference between them. You are free to do whatever you want. It depends on what you are comfortable with and your ideas and how to organize them. So this is our writing. Since we have here writing is actually forming sentences, let's just look at these sentences. We have the first one. You or we are going to write the essay. We write different essays. Some of us enjoy writing. Some have already written the essay. Now, if you see here, the difference between, of course, all of these four examples, they have the same verb, which is write. Now, the first one, we are going to write the essay. We have here, of course, the affirmative form. Why? Because going to shows the future. So we have here the base form. The second one, we write different essays. There is just the verb. There is no helping verb, and there is nothing else, which shows that this is going to be present, simple, connecting to the plural. After that, some of us enjoy writing. Enjoy is actually the verb, and we have writing here is the noun. Why? Because we have here the verb plus the G, I or I, the ing. This is what we call the gerund. Now, when I told you before that we have gerunds, which are verbs plus ing that form as a noun, this is what we have now. And the last one, some have already written the essay. We can say that we have here written, which is in the past participle or the third form of the verb. Why? Because we have here have. So we are going to discuss this in our lesson. We have here, let's just, okay, we have, yes. Now, you can see that there are a lot of verbs here. Actually, there are three types of verbs. There are three types. If you can just outline and see what are the three types, just scan quickly. We have here prepared, put, taken, have, worked, printed, studied, and so on. Now, if you take a look, a very good look, you will find that we have here has and have are actually helping verbs. They are auxiliary verbs. So this is going to be the first type. And then the rest of the verbs here, you can see that there are lots of verbs which have the ed, meaning that they are the regular form of the verb. And when we take them out, you will see the rest of the verbs, they are the irregular forms. Now, irregular forms here, which we have the third form, and the ed, of course, is also going to be the past participle, which is the third form. And this is going to be what we will, inshallah, concentrate on. So, moving on. We have the three types, as we said, the auxiliary, we have regular and irregular verbs here. Now, here I'm talking specifically about has and have. Why? Because our lesson is going to be about the present perfect tense. When you see the word perfect, you know that I am talking and I'm using what either has or have. Present also shows that I'm going to use have or had, has or have, because if it was the past perfect, I would have chosen had. Just the two verbs here, has or have. Why? Because they have the present perfect tense. Moving on. Now, this is going to be our lesson, which is the form, meaning, and function part that we have in the gender divide unit. And in our unit, we deducted the tense forms from examples. Form sentences using the present perfect tense is going to be your turn. Differentiate between the two present perfect forms. This is something to put in mind. We have two forms. And we are going to use words connected to hobbies in sentences, and you'll see how we'll get to that. So, actually, this is a part that we discussed before in the syllabus before. Now, the present perfect tense, as we said, there are two parts. So here we know that it connects the past with the present. It's something that started in the past, but is still going on in the present, or still has an effect in the present. Now, there are the two types, as we said. The types are going to be either using has and have plus done, which is the past participle form. And here we have the other kind, which is has and have, but we are going to use it with been plus doing, the verb plus ing. Now, specifically, I'm not talking about do or done. No, I'm talking about the verbs in general. Either you have the done, which is the past participle, or you have the verb plus the ing. Moving on. Now here we can see the present perfect tense. For example, they have done a lot of constructions in Riyadh and they are still changing. Now you can see that we have here have done. Here, which means that something happened in the past or started in the past and still is connected to the future. Because if it's something that happened in the past and is done in the past, this is going to be the past simple. But the present perfect is something that still is going on or still has its effect. Moving on. Now, forming the present perfect tense, we are going to use either has and have plus the past participle. For example, we have here, we can take the plural or the singular. Plural takes have, singular takes has, plus the past participle. This is going to be the present perfect simple. Or the other one, has and have plus been, plus the present participle, which is verb ing. As we can see here in our table, you can see also we have here the plural form, we have the singular form, we have here been plus verb ing. And this is going to be the present perfect progressive. So we have here the present perfect simple, we have here the present perfect progressive, and here, this is a very important question. Which one should I use? Should I use the present perfect simple or the present perfect progressive? This is a good question, and just to make sure that you are aware of it, remember they can have the same meaning. Now, for example, I can say he has lived there for 10 years, and I can say he has been living there for 10 years. So let's say that I'm talking about my brother. Now, my brother, he lives in another city or another country. I can say that he has lived there for 10 years, or he has been living there for 10 years. So how can I know which one to use, or what does this mean and what does this mean? When we move on, there is a difference, of course. We have here, yes. Now the first one, he has lived there for 10 years. When I use the present perfect simple, I am concerned with the result, or I am concerned with the action itself, what is happening. So where is my brother? Well, he is living in another country or another city. Here, this is the most basic part or the important part. But if I use the present perfect progressive, which is of course with the ing, here I am concerned with the time. How long has he been living there? He has been living there for 10 years. I'm concentrating on the time. So this is the difference between them. If you have here has or have using the past participle, you are concentrating on the action itself or the result of the action. If you are using has and have plus been plus verb ing, you are concentrating on the time that was spent on this action. Let's say, take another example. He has been reading for 2 hours. Here, the time is the most important thing. Why? Because we have here has been reading. How long has he been reading? He has been busy. What is he doing? He has been reading. For how long? For 2 hours. I'm concentrating on the time. But the second one, he has read for 2 hours. Here, the number of things done in the time is the most important thing. So what is the result? What did he do? He finished, or he has read for 2 hours. His accomplishment or the result that he has been reading, or he has finished some reading. He has read. So this is the difference between the two. Here you have the examples in the book, and we are going to decide together which one is the present perfect progressive and which one is present perfect simple. So here I'm going to just abbreviate, and I'm just going to say, just for short, the progressive and the simple parts, because both of them are actually present perfect. Now you can see the first one. Sandy and Amal have been discussing the differences more in behavior between men and women for 2 hours. Now you know that we have here have, yes, because they are plural, Sandy and Amal. And we have here been. We have also discussing, which means that we have here the progressive. The second one, they have decided that women talk about feelings more than men, or than, yes, we have here have decided. So this one is going to be simple. How long have you been discussing stereotypes? Now, just look for the helping verb, the auxiliary. We have here have you been discussing, which means that we have here progressive. How many times have you discussed this issue? Have you discussed? There is no been, there is no ing, so we have here present perfect simple. Saeed has been driving since early this morning. We have here has been driving, progressive. He has driven 400 miles, has driven, simple. How long have you been driving? We have here have you been driving, progressive. And the last one, have you driven, which makes it simple. So note that all of our examples, they are based on the two parts, either the present perfect simple or the present perfect progressive. Moving on. We use the present perfect progressive to talk about an annoying action or situation. We can say, for example, I haven't slept at all. My phone has been ringing all night. Or who has been eating the cakes? There is only one left. So either this one or this one, you can see that there is a kind of annoyance in the sentence. Now, on page number 92, you have your ask and answer questions about the picture. There is a picture. The picture is about rain for 10 minutes. Now, what have the people been doing during this time? You are going to use either the structured present perfect simple or the present perfect progressive. This is your assignment, inshallah, for the next lesson. After that, we have here the time expressions that we can use with the present perfect in general. We can use either how long, for, since, all day, all week, all month, and all year. Now, for example, they have been talking for over an hour. The children are getting bored. Now, also, we passed by this part, which is just to remind you that we have here either to use since or for. For, if we are commenting on the number of the time, we have here 2 seconds, 2 minutes, 2 hours, 2 years, for example. And since is for a period of a time. Now, this is a part that we did discuss before, but just to remind you. Moving on. Yes, now if you can see here, actually in our examples, I have studied baking. Now we have here, I have studied baking. I have, and the main verb, which is studied. Baking is what I explained before when I said that this is a gerund. It's a noun. Now we have here the gerund here is actually, I'm going to use it here with an adjective and a preposition. So you can see in our examples, I'm not very good at playing sport. I'm fascinated by traditional stories and books. I'm interested in reading all sorts of stories. You can see that we have here playing. We have here also fascinated by traditional stories and books, and I'm interested in reading all sorts of stories. We have here playing, and reading is the gerund. We used it with an adjective and also with a preposition. Now, since we are talking about sports, we are talking about reading. These are hobbies. Now, the last part that you have here in the form, meaning, and function is words connected with hobbies and interests. You can see that there are a lot of hobbies here. Here are some words connected with popular free time activities. Write some words connected with a hobby or interest of your own. You can use either one you would like. And here, the basic part is to use it with the present perfect. So you can see here, Ahmed is a footballer. He has played every week. He plays in his local team. You can say that Sally is a bookworm. She loves reading novels. Ali has always been fascinated with superheroes and comic books. Now here in these examples, you can see that we have here the present perfect is used with the hobbies because this is something that happened in the past as a hobby and still is going on with you. So just put in mind also that we have here another exercise in your book, which is page number 93, working groups. Find out about your classmates' hobbies and interests and ask them how long have they been doing them. So this question is going to be the one concerning the present perfect part. So our lesson ends with using the present perfect in sentences, using words connected to hobbies and interests in sentences, which is also connected to the present perfect. And we have here forming sentences using the structure, the adjective, preposition, and gerund, which has also connected to hobbies and different interests. So we are going to complete our writing, and we have the exercises in the book, page number 92 and 93. We will see our assignments in the next lesson, inshallah.